Hello, and welcome back to What the Frick podcast. It is now 12:03 a.m. What the Frick after dark. Please welcome our guest today, Jacknrice. Hello, Jacqueline.
Hello, I'm so excited to be here.
How are you feeling tonight?
I'm doing great.
So I wanted to start out the podcast tonight by just introducing my good friend Jacqueline here. I'm calling her Jacqueline, but really her name is Jackie.
Actually, my birth name is Jacqueline, so.
Anyways, I want to introduce Jackie here. So me and Jackie met in college freshman year. We were in the same sorority, actually, and the reason we became friends is because I overheard her saying to someone that she had a car.
Sounds pretty shallow to me.
Maybe a little bit. And I was like, you have a car? And at the time, I did not have a car. My parents did not allow me to have a car until I hit sophomore year. And our house was...
It's the farthest one on the row.
Yeah, kind of far from the dorm. So I was like, oh, this chick has a car. Like, she can drive me.
Fully used me.
She
fully used me.
To and from the sorority house. I was like, I need to find a way to befriend this chick. And that's exactly what I did.
And all these years later, and we're still friends. So I guess it worked.
Yeah, and that was in 2015.
I think so. Yeah, 2015.
And it's almost 2023, and we're still friends. So
something worked.
to anybody out there, clearly finessing the system works, and I made a friend out of it, and someone that also had a car and was able to get me to and from my sorority house to
chapter dinner.
Yes, to eat the meals.
Yeah.
So I feel pretty proud about that. Okay. So Jackie and I got into the sorority in 2015. We graduated in 2019, but something kind of different about Jackie is that she chose to live in the sorority house for a year?
Yeah,
1 year or
only
2
a
years?
year. I only lived there my sophomore year. Yes.
I felt like that would have been basically a death sentence. I don't know why.
It wasn't that bad.
The thought of living with 50 plus girls in one house, sharing a communal bathroom sounded like basically like the worst kind of prison sentence to me. So what was it like living with so many people in one like semi big house?
It was like thinking back in college, like those were some of my greatest memories, living there in the sorority house. I grew up with only one other brother, and we both had like our separate spaces growing up, so I never had the experience of like sharing a room or sharing a bathroom or things like that. So it was quite an adjustment, because my freshman year I only shared like a room and a bathroom with my suite mate, so it wasn't that bad. But moving into the house, it was sharing a whole bathroom, all these showers. It was like 4 showers for 25 girls on the floor. And that was kind of a lot. I'm kind of a little bit of a germaphobe when it comes to bathrooms. Yeah. So that was a bit of an adjustment. But again, some of my best memories came from the house. So it was honestly, I wouldn't change it. And I'm sad you didn't get to live in, because you didn't get to experience all like the craziness that happened.
I mean, I'm not sad about it, because I knew that if I had chosen to live in the house, that I would have probably been so depressed.
Why? It was like,
I don't know. The thought of living with 50 girls who, and like some of them you're friends with, some of them you're like, like we're like acquaintances with. You're sharing a bathroom, like the kitchen, like everything is just, it's kind of, there's no escape, and I like having personal space.
Okay, so I felt that way going into it, but like once I was into it, I don't know, it was just weird. It's like, yes, I wasn't best friends with every single one of the girls. There were some girls that I never really even saw. Right. But like for the most part, it's like I had my close group of friends. I knew like what was going, I guess like I knew what I was signing myself up for. And I don't know, it was just fun. I never felt too overwhelmed because I am a person who I like my own space. I like my own area. I don't want people bothering me. Like, I need time just to myself. And I always felt like I got that, like, when my roommate was out at class, like, I was able to just be by myself and no one was ever like bothering me, you know? So the only issue that I do see was like, it was hard, TMI, to like go to the bathroom, if you know what I mean. Yeah. And I'm very shy in that instance, so that was my only gripe about it. But everything else, and the laundry was horrible, but everything else, I loved it.
I just feel like there's no personal time. Like, if you're trying to like watch a movie or a TV show on Netflix by yourself at night, like, your roommate is going to be next to you in some capacity. If you try to go into the living room, to like, there's going to be girls in there watching something or just talking. Like, it's very hard to find that time for yourself. And like you said, like, if your roommate's at class or doing something school or personal related, then yeah, you have that time. But overall, you're pretty much stuck in a very social situation, and neither of us are very extreme socialists. I just don't think I could have handled that. And the fact that you did it, I was extremely impressed.
I know. It was like kind of like added some stripes to my social status, I guess. Social butterfly. I don't know. But I wouldn't have changed it. It was it was honestly really fun. And I think it truly made my college experience.
Okay, well, one of my main questions is, how are you kind of dealing with, I guess, the living situation you're in now, going from obviously middle school, high school, you live with your parents, your family, you go to college, you're in a dorm, your freshman year, you went straight to a sorority house, which is 50 plus people, a roommate, and then you lived in an apartment, which encompassed you plus a couple other female students, and then now you're in the real world as a working adult, which is awful, and you live by yourself. So how has it been? It's been a while too, like, you've lived by yourself for a hot minute. So how has it been adjusting to living by yourself after living in all these very different situations, but social situations in terms of having people around you?
Honestly, it's extremely lonely.
That's what I was scared to hear. Like, I don't want you to be lonely.
Yeah, no, it's it did take a long time to get used to. It was a big adjustment because I went from, just being like me and my brother, and then to the freshman dorm, to the house, to the apartment, and now I'm by myself. And it's kind of, it was a huge adjustment. I have to pay rent. I have to pay groceries. Like, I don't have anybody to split the utilities with. That's all on me. So it's like I love it and I hate it at the same time, because it's like I see all my friends, they like post that they're going out and they have fun pre-gaming, and then they come back home and it's like they all decompress the night. And I guess like in college, like your college apartments, we would have like a crazy night out. We would come back home and sit on the couch like the next morning, decompress the night.
Good times.
Yes. We'd say everything that we did, who we hit on, like the guys that came and bought us drinks, if it was a successful night, whatever. And it's like, it's kind of was an adjustment not to have that, not to have somebody to get ready with, to pregame with, to go out. It's like, that's the part that I miss. And that's why I'm kind of like, it is a very lonely aspect. But would I have a roommate now? I don't think I would, because it's like, don't get me wrong, like the whole financial aspect of everything, like sign me up for that. I would love it. Like if I had a boyfriend right now, love it to split everything with.
Let's not be greedy here.
Like if I had someone to split that with, or like spend that time with, I would love that. But I kind of like my alone time,
Yeah. Well, I find it very just fascinating because overall, I currently have a roommate and I like it because I like being able to come home and be like, this crazy thing just happened to me and I have someone I can immediately tell.
Yeah.
At the same time, it would be nice to be able to come home and not worry about like, oh, are they cooking dinner? Are they having a friend over and they're in the common space? Like you can just do whatever you want. But I have never personally lived alone a day in my life between my family, college, and roommates. So part of me is almost ready to take that next step of, okay, I'm going to be alone for my next apartment or house or whatever. But it's also scary. It's like you've never done that. And so and you have. So like, do you have a preference of living by yourself versus living with one roommate or two roommates or however many?
Honestly, I think in like a perfect world, I don't know. That's a tough question because I love my alone time, but it's like in the same time, it's like, yeah, if you do have a roommate, it's like all of that like awkwardness, I guess, but then you have your own little space in your room, but then you get to come out to the common areas and you get to like hang out with them and talk to them and decompress, and you have like somebody there to I guess just shoot the shit with, you know. But it's like I come home from work and it's just me and my thoughts, you know. So like it gets kind of sad, but in a good way. Obviously right now I only know the aspect of living alone versus like my family. And when I'm with my family, like I crave being alone. Like I want to be back at my own apartment, but then when I'm by myself, it's like I want the interaction. So I don't know the answer to that. So I do like when I'm with other people, and I like the safety aspect of things because not every little sound is someone trying to kill me.
Oh my God.
But yeah, so I don't.
Well, if you had to make a choice in terms of like living with a best friend or someone you know well, or a stranger, or just by yourself, like would you say like I'd rather do this versus this, or like just based on your overall experience? It's like a lot of people don't know what the best option is when they're like moving somewhere.
Yeah. See, like I've had not quite a few, but like two or about my freshman year and then my senior year, I had random roommates. And at first I was very sketched out about it, but it honestly turned out great both times. And like the randos sometimes become some of your closest friends. Not saying that was the case in my situation, but like they were cool and I liked them. So I'm honestly open to anything. I like my alone time, but I like the aspect of having somebody there. So I'm neutral. I'm Switzerland in this. Yeah, like I obviously don't want to be living alone for like the rest of my life, but like if I had to live alone for like the next few months to a year, maybe even 2 years, like I'd be fine with that. So I don't know, we'll see. Pressure's on to find a man.
Anyways, I wanted to kind of switch gears a little bit. I know one of the things we wanted to discuss today was just imposter syndrome, and that's become a big thing in society, just people feeling like they kind of don't belong, whether it's in their job, their relationship, what the amount of money they're making. So I kind of wanted to ask you, because I know it's something you're kind of feeling in your overall life in general. So how are you feeling like this imposter syndrome is affecting your overall day-to-day?
Honestly, that's hard.
It is a hard question.
Yeah. I feel like in a sense, like I feel like a lot of people feel that way when it comes to their careers. They don't feel like they belong there. Like I got my job and it was the first job that I got right out of college. Yeah. So it was hard for me to kind of adapt because I was literally the youngest person in the office and everybody had 5 to 10 years plus over me. So it was hard to kind of make my place there and kind of adapt to like this new corporate culture and all these like people that have years ahead of me. So that was really hard. I feel like Now I've definitely gained my place, but it's still kind of a little iffy here and there. But we're getting there.
I feel like that's something that everyone feels coming out of college. Like, oh, I'm going to start a new job. And it's like you start, but you're like, literally, what am I doing? Like, someone has to almost train you or be like, okay, email this person and do this. And it's like you're not going to fully fit in until you're like maybe a few months into the entire process. But how are you feeling now being almost 3 years into this job? Like, are you like, I own this place? Or are you like, I'm still kind of learning, I'm like, the job is still kind of progressing day by day? Or just like overall, how are you feeling about where you started versus how you are now?
It's definitely like I definitely have gotten my position. Like I feel like I've earned where I'm at now. There's definitely a lot of people didn't last through COVID, and like me and my team was like one of the only groups of people that lasted that long. So I definitely do feel like I've earned my place now. There are some times where we have like people in suits come down and they are like, this is how things are going to be done, and I'm just like, I don't know what I'm doing, I'm still a kid.
I'm like, only 25.
Yeah, like they come down with all these corporate terms and I'm like, I don't know what you're speaking, what language you're speaking. But it's definitely, I have earned, I guess, my place, but there's still a lot of doubt in the back of my mind asking like, is this good enough? Do I know actually what I'm doing? Is it worthy? Am I going to get fired tomorrow? Am I going to get laid off in this economy? Who knows? So it's still a roller coaster, and I feel like that's going to be there for a while.
Is this something you're feeling only in like your professional work life, or is it something you feel overall? I know a lot of people just feel like, how am I an adult right now? Like, is this something you feel in your personal life, your dating life, or is it just like purely a work feeling?
Oh, I've always said this as like kind of a joke, but like kind of seriously, but like I feel like I'm average in every way, shape, and form. Average looks, average weight, average height, average salary, average grades when I was in school, average everything, average like miles per gallon on my car. Like I'm an average soul. So I feel like it does carry over in that instance, and I try really hard to be like, I'm better than everyone, but wait, you can't put that in. That's a cut. Don't put that in.
I'm putting that in. But like, what makes you feel that way? Is it something specific in terms of like seeing people on social media, or like what makes you feel like you're just like a very average woman? Something like overall, because like in your job, you're like, you're not the bottom of the barrel anymore. When you started, you're like, you've been there for 3 years, like you've kind of worked your way up a little bit. Like, so what's giving you these feelings of, I don't really belong here?
I don't know. I guess it's just like my own insecurity, my own self-doubt that kind of makes me feel that way. Like as much as I see all these TikToks and it's like all these people talking about like confidence and walking like into a room and knowing you're the hottest person in there.
I see those TikToks.
And it's like all about confidence. It's like as much as I want to be that person, it's very hard for me. And I feel like a lot of people can relate to that because it's just not realistic. Yes, I feel like I'm succeeding in, I guess, my career and all of that stuff, but it's like it can always be better. I can always make more money. I can always do something else that's like more productive to my lifestyle, or I can always like, I don't know, do something that's better than what I'm doing now. But I feel like chasing that is very hard, and chasing that's just not realistic. So you just kind of have to deal with it. As much as like you don't want to deal with the self-doubt and you don't want to deal with the insecurities, you just have to do it.
I feel like our generation specifically has a somewhat more difficult time with this concept just because we feel a lot of pressure to kind of do what our older generation accomplished and almost supersede that into a fact. So it's almost like this overwhelming pressure we have to like be better or almost do better. And not everyone can, be the next Obama or the next Trump, whatever party you fall into. It's like, do the best you can do and don't always feel like you have to be like the next giant person or celebrity or whatever it is. Like, just tackle your own issues, your own problems, and don't feel like an imposter when you are like a year, 3, 5 years deep. Like, because wherever you are, you're gonna feel like, do I really belong here? Like, it's a weird feeling.
Yeah, it's something to get used to, I guess, but it's like I don't want to get used to that feeling that you're never good enough, because it's like I know I'm more secure with myself. That's like I know that it's like it's just a brief moment in my life that I'm feeling like this insecurity. It's a brief moment of my day, but it's like I don't want that to overcome everything that I've done so far and where I've gotten myself today. So
right, and I think our generation is very underwhelming. Like, we're like, oh, I graduated. Well, who cares?
Exactly.
Like, everyone does that. Or they got a job. Well, everyone
gets a
does.
job. Yeah.
Like, we undermine ourselves into thinking like it's not something powerful or something we should be proud of. But it's like, no, like, there are thousands of people that can't get a job or couldn't go to college. So it's like, be proud of every step you take. And even though it might not be like you buying Twitter, Elon Musk, or like you going to space or like doing something absolutely insane that like changes the world, like, you're still, a personal goal is still a goal.
Exactly. And it's like, it's weird, not to keep like beating a dead horse here, but it's weird because we're starting to get to that age where we're older, and it's like this new group of like influencers or like actors or like the new like it people. They're younger than us, so it's weird to see these younger people have so much success, all these millions of dollars, everybody loves them, and we're just looking at them like, why can't that be us? Because it's like those people were just average everyday people just like 2 years ago, and now they're the it person because of social media. So it's hard to know like that's not a realistic way of living, and based on now it's just it's weird. It's just weird. That's all I can say. It's something to get used to.
Well, thank you for bringing about the idea of imposter syndrome. I know a lot of us millennials, Gen Z, feel this way, just like we don't actually know what we're doing. COVID had a major setback in terms of us feeling prepared for the world. So knowing that you'll get there, and it might take you a year to learn your job, but like, you'll get there. So the next topic I wanted to dive into was manifestation. And this is something I know you're very passionate about, but I am more of a critic, a skeptic. I'm like, that's fake. Like, there have been times where I've done it and I'm like, oh wow, that happened. But I'm like, was it just meant to happen? Like, that would have happened, or did I actually manifest that? So kind of, I'm like, I don't really have like a question here, but just like, what is your process of thinking of, I want this to happen, so I'm gonna think about it and manifest it, because it's such a big idea in today's world. And how do you go about it?
Yeah. So I guess like a great little story about this, and I hate to keep relating things to like my job and going back to like my work life.
Let's do it. Let's dive in.
But I remember, and this is when I became like a firm believer of it, because I was fresh out of college, just graduated, kind of spent like a month or two kind of just like trying to figure out what I want to do. And I was looking online. I'm really into makeup, so I found all these makeup companies that I wanted to work for, and I saw this one company, and I looked online. I looked at their YouTube channel, and I saw they had an office tour, and I watched the entire video of the office tour, and that night I saw there was an application open for a position there, and I applied for it. And when I applied for it, like, this sounds so crazy, but I pictured myself like already in the office, like walking down the hall, like I could just feel myself. Like I remember being in the shower and I was still thinking about like walking in the office and like knowing I belonged there. And then I sent my application in. I didn't hear anything back for like 2-3 weeks. And mind you, before, like, this was like one of my first few jobs that I ever applied for. So it was kind of alarming. Like, my resume probably wasn't as strong. My like cover letter wasn't that great. So I just applied, set it, forget it. That was it. That's the key to manifestation. You set and you forget. Because if you keep thinking about it, then you're gonna like doubt the universe in a way.
Right, like it'll just be like, that's not for me.
Exactly. So it's like you want to set it and forget it. And that's what I did. I set it and I forgot about it. And then maybe 2-3 weeks later, I got an email back saying they wanted to interview. Went to the interview. I thought I bombed it. It was terrible. And then like a week later, I got the job. And it was the craziest thing of my life because in a way, I got extremely lucky because that was one of my first jobs, one of my first interviews that I've ever went to, and I got it, and I've been there ever since. So I think that was really what changed my life in a way, as like cheesy as it sounds, but that's what I truly believe in, and I believe if you visualize yourself there and you can like see yourself there, you're manifesting it. And if you just have positive intentions towards it, it'll come to you in the universe's timing.
Right. Well, I remember thinking, I'm so pissed. Like, Jackie got a job right off the bat. Me applying to like 100 jobs a day, getting reject after reject. And obviously things are based on, demand and the industry. But I was like, wow, she got that. And at the time I was like, you know what? Good for her. Like, happy for her. And it hasn't been until recently where I'm like, okay, manifesting is like a real thing. It's very spiritual. A lot of people are very into it. Like they sit down every day and they're like, I'm going to do this or I want to do that. And I'm like, I think it's great to believe things, but you saying to the universe, like, I'm going to win the lottery. I'm like, you're probably not. Like, so exactly. I've been very skeptical in terms of, or like, this guy didn't text me back. I did that once with you, and I'm like, he never texted me. So, and you were like, well, you didn't believe hard enough. And I'm like, no, you're right. Like, I didn't. So I'm still getting to a point where I'm like, is this real or not? But I've heard so many stories of people being like, this worked for me, or visualizing, like saying it out loud. And so it's like, I want to get more into the techniques of it and just like how people go about it. So do you have any tips or things you want to give out that would help other people?
I definitely think that you need to have a positive outlook on it in general, and you need to like know that it's, as weird as it sounds, it's like the universe is on your side, and if it's meant to be, it's meant to be. You need to be realistic about it too, saying like, oh, I'm gonna win the Mega Millions tomorrow, and it's like the odds of that happening are very slim. It's like, so you need to be realistic. It's like you need to manifest, start with little things. This is what I saw when I was starting this. You have to start with little things like, I'm going to have a great day today. I'm going to find a great parking spot right up front under a shady tree, things like that. And very simple things that like could happen in day to day. And you'll get that parking spot. You'll get those little things that you ask for. So it's like you need to start small and then you can like kind of build up to it. So I definitely do, like, I kind of see some people's like disbelief in it, and they kind of think it's like not like, it's not like I'm sitting around a circle with candles and doing like a seance, but it's more than just like, oh, that's never gonna happen. You have to fully believe and convince yourself.
Okay, very interesting, because I'm a cynic. I'm not gonna lie about it, whatever. But then like a month later, I wanted something not to happen to this thing for my job, and I am now a believer in reverse manifestation, in terms of like, if you believe something won't happen and you almost kind of hope for it, it works out for you.
I guess like technically when you say reverse manifestation, like the first thing that's in my mind, I'm like, so you're doubting yourself. And I think like that's not the correct way to live life. You can't constantly live in self-doubt, which is ironic because we were just talking about imposter syndrome, which directly relates to self-doubt. I think it's like you just need to have a positive outlook on life, and you obviously, it relates back to being realistic, and you have to, it's not like you're sitting there like like these things are gonna magically appear. You do have to put in the work for it. You have to get there, and it's like if you visualize it, you put in the work, it'll come to you. It'll magically appear one day if you put in the work and you're a good person.
Like you say, like, put in the work, but I'm like, I feel like so many people think it's like very spiritual, like woo woo, like almost wizard, like Hogwarts, where it's like it'll just come if I like snap my, and I'm like, no, like you have to do something to like get yourself to whatever point you're trying to ultimately reach. But I'm becoming more of a believer with my reverse manifestation, but
just think reverse manifestation equals self-doubt. So you can't do that. You can't do that.
I'm doing my best, but yeah, have there been times where you've tried to manifest something, whether it's a job, a salary, a guy,
definitely.
a friend, and it's
Definitely.
been like it's been like that has not worked out for you?
Definitely, because like in my delusional mind, I've said this many times, I always have pictured myself dating a celebrity. I've always pictured myself with somebody of like not a higher status, because that sounds like that doesn't sound nice, but like someone, I don't even know the words to say, but like I've always pictured myself with someone above like where I am, because I am low-key a shallow person. And I want to be like the stay-at-home mother, like my mother. She hasn't worked in 20 years because she is taken care of by my father.
That's a job.
Yes, exactly. She's a homemaker, and a homemaker is a full-time job. So that is what like I've envisioned myself as what, as much as I want to be a career girl, I know we're verting off topic, but as much as I want to be like a corporate career girly, I also like the bigger part of me wants to be a stay-at-home mother, a stay-at-home wife.
Stay-at-home girly.
Yes. And I feel like that's setting feminism back like 20 plus years.
No, honestly, I think if that's your goal, like in this day and age, it makes you sound dated, because it's just like, why are you not trying to like, but like, no, being a stay-at-home mom,
it's a full-time job,
so much work. Like for anyone who hasn't done it, I mean, I haven't done it, but like I just from watching people, I'm like, I would rather work a full-time job than do that.
Right.
It looks so hard. And to have a husband who is able to fully support you financially, where you're able to stay at home, watch the kids, you know, get errands done, like, it's on. If anything, it's harder than his job. Like, not to degrade a man, but like, okay, you gonna switch roles? Okay, let's do it for like Freaky Friday. This shit, like, no, like it's hard, and you shouldn't feel degraded by the fact that you're like, I want to stay home when one day when I have a kid and just like
enjoy
focus on them.
the kid,
and
right?
Yeah, because like so many kids have messed up childhoods when they're like only nannied or they're only like with preschools. It's like you should find a balance that works for you, your husband, your entire family, that makes you feel happy.
Exactly. And that's like, I feel like there's nothing wrong with wanting to be a stay-at-home mother, wanting to be like someone who just takes care of their home, takes care of their kids, their husband does all the work. Like, honestly, yeah. I've always said that my goal in life is to retire by the age of 32, and to think about that's only a few years from now is kind of terrifying.
Did you say 32?
Yes. I don't want to work.
What are you gonna do at 32?
I have no idea. That's why I need to marry rich. And that's how I can relate it all back to manifestation. And how I'm going to marry somebody that's very generous, a very generous man, a very generous lifestyle, and that wants to take care of me and wants the best for me and wants me to succeed and let me retire by the age of 32. Like, that's what
You know what? I respect it.
I'm setting it. I'm forgetting about it, and I'm just believing that it'll come to me.
It is currently 1:59 a.m., so we're going to wrap this up. Thank you all so much for listening. I know I had a great experience hearing Jacqueline.
Thank you for having me. I was nervous, but this was fun. I'd come back for a second episode.
Well, maybe tomorrow we'll record another one when we're back from our bottomless brunch. Or maybe not, but either way.
We'll see where the one takes us.
I'm glad get to all experience the power of Jacqueline and the power of me. And I'm so happy to be here with you guys. Jacqueline, please share your Instagram if anyone wants to follow.
Yes.
Posts that you don't ever post. Jacqueline posts like once a year, but it's fine.
It's a big deal though when I post. I get lots of likes, lots of comments. Okay, my Instagram is at Jacknrice.
Jacknrice.
At Jacknrice, and my TikTok for those who are interested.
The TikTok
is at Pepper Jack Cheese, and cheese is spelled CHZ.
Why is that your username?
Why not?
Okay, facts. I don't have a reason.
And yeah, thank you for having me. This was fun, and can't wait for the next one.